When it's suffering, when it's in pain, all it wants to do is find the easy way out, which is usually quit. If you quit, the pain goes away immediately. You gotta give yourself enough energy and fuel in your mind to stay just a little bit longer so you can talk yourself into staying for the whole thing.
If the enemy attacks 5, you interrupt 5. Well, the only way that you can affect the future is to be faithful right now. What is now being done?
Yes, there may be seasons of disrespect where it looks like they're getting the upper hand, but your time is coming. The meal is being prepared. You can trust the faithfulness of God.
You know, the people you hang out with are very important in your life. Have the right kind of friends and they'll help keep you on the right track in life, the narrow path that leads to life.
Suffering is developing and building a stage for God to get glory, a stage for God to show up, a stage for God to show off, but a stage for you to stand on.
You got to be committed to work on yourself, to improve yourself, to overpower the negative thoughts that you have about yourself.
You should always expect the things that you accept. And I want you to make me aware of what is unacceptable.
God's not going to show you every step you need to take at the start. He's not going to show you all of the steps to get where you need to go. He's going to share them with you little by little.
You know, life is hard, and if you don't get to think, when you walk through your life, you will fall into a pit. There's no doubt about that, because that's what thinking is for. Is to stop you from having any more catastrophes than are absolutely necessary.
Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. The Philly translation of that is, don't be hanging with no jank-ass jokers that don't help you shine.
Sometimes you could hear the mentor say the same words, but the timing wasn't quite right, so they wouldn't have the same impact.
The basic question you are going to answer is, what do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? And make a list of at least 50 things you want. These are long-range goals.
Most of us never start anything cold. If you're gonna go to college, you gotta study your ass off. If you wanna run a 100-mile race, a marathon, if you wanna go be Mr. Olympia, if you wanna go be a scientist, a doctor.
Be one of the best salespeople on the planet.
You gotta work.
You gotta work.
But this
and
is
you
what
gotta
we do.
build. You gotta build up to that.
But what happens is, in that moment when we need self-talk, when we're failing and we're in our worst spot possible,
Everything that I went through that wasn't good, when God will work it out, that's cool. Let me give you one better. God will work it in. Whatever happens to you, God will work it in. I don't just do it big when a lot of people are watching. Never did. Ask Holly. When we travel, y'all, I don't do everything right, but I've always been passionate about this. You need to stop waiting for it to discover what God has put in you.
Because you belong to the sovereign Lord, He will deal with you because of His reputation. It's not just who you are, it's whose you are. Now your part is to guard your heart, not get offended, not get distracted in battles that don't matter. God's part is to guard your reputation. He'll make sure that you're seen in the right light.
You know, sometimes even our troubles that we go through are the things that end up setting us free. No matter what we go through in life, if we'll follow God and not people, and we won't bow down to the demands of people, if we know that what they want us to do is wrong, then we'll come out from the trouble that we may have to go through, and we won't even smell like smoke. There'll be no evidence in our life that we ever went through the thing that we went through.
I want to go through this season that I'm in where I feel like I'm suffering, that I'm sensing that I'm suffering, that things are breaking, ceilings are caving in, and I can't avoid it, but I know I can achieve endurance. And I want to recognize, no, God's building a stage, and I need to be prepared, because at some point I'm going to have to give a testimony as to why I hope in Him. I'm going to have a reason. And I don't know about you, but if I can just be honest today, my reason is not an argument.
When you're on the trail to pursue your dreams, we've been conditioned to believe that things can happen instantly. You see a program on television for an hour or 2 hours, and they start out with a complicated plot, and then it's resolved within an hour or 2 hours. Life is not like that. Hello? Did anybody tell you No, transformation takes time.
Self-love creates a bottom line. Self-love creates a real bottom line, drawing your foot in the sand and saying, anything that you're trying to do from this point on is unacceptable. I refuse to be on the receiving end of any of the mean, evil, and disrespectful things that you just decide you want to unleash on me. It is unacceptable.
A lot of people, what they want is they want a map from God for their life. And they want a map where they can see, here's where I am, and here's the end, and here's how I get there. God's never going to give you a life map like that, where you can see everything from the beginning to the end on the map. Instead, He gives it to you on a scroll, where you roll it down a little bit, and you read it and go, oh, do that. And once you do that, He rolls down a little bit more, and you go, oh, do that. Once you do that, He rolls it down a little bit more.
If you're going to have a conversation about something that matters, and the world is made out of what matters, that's a good thing to remember. If you're going to have a discussion about what matters, if you're really going to talk about it, everyone is going to be offended by that. So then you think, well, your freedom of speech, that's not about you being able to speak truth to power. That's about you being able to chart your destiny in the world.
Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that. You can't do that. Until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.
What does a crisis do? It moves us. And it sometimes moves us out of the comfort zone. That's one of the benefits of a crisis. If you're getting moved out of your comfort zone, if you have a good perspective about that, and you're willing to learn out of that comfort zone, and you're willing to look for opportunity out of that comfort zone, there are some good things that happen. So who mentors me? That's the contagiousness of the spirit of the person. When do they mentor me? Timing is so important.
If you want to design your future, I'm going to give you enough homework not only to keep you busy for the rest of your life, but also to help you create the kind of life you may have always dreamed about living, but never believed possible. So let's get on with it. The sooner you exert the discipline, the sooner you will be enjoying the results. Once the results start to come, believe me, you won't mind the hard work and discipline it's going to take.
We forget that we put years, maybe not into making these dials, but to getting where you're at today.
To become this person.
To become this person, to be in a position to make this money, or whatever you want to make, whatever you want to do in your life. We forget that. We forget that journey on what it took for us to get in this moment to make the right decision.
When we say, but God, I just think about how this needs to operate in my life. When I'm saying, if you just let the enemy attack you, and you don't learn to interrupt him, it just strengthens the chain. It becomes bondage. Your belief becomes your bondage. God is using this for good.
Anytime you step out to do something great, you're being a great mother, pouring your heart and soul into raising those children, maybe excelling at school or going the extra mile at work, seeing your gifts come out in great ways. Don't be surprised if someone is going to find fault. Question your motives. Say things that are not true. He just thinks he's better than us. If you were sitting around being mediocre, no one would care.
Don't miss your destiny because you're trying to keep people around you happy, because you know what you'll find out? If you get your friends by people pleasing, you'll have to keep them the same way you got them. And one of these days you're going to get tired of it, and the first time you don't please them, you'll find out they weren't true friends at all, because they will dump you quicker than you can imagine.
My reason is not because life is easy. In fact, most of my reason as to why I have this hope is not because of the absence of suffering, but instead because of the presence of a Savior. Why do I have a hope? Because every time I found myself in these deep waters, every time I found myself in this deep pain, a Savior has shown up and He has walked beside me.
Studies indicate 85% of our self-talk is negative, and most people don't realize that. And it's governing their behavior. 85% of people, after they experience some rejections outside of their family members and friends, they quit.
Harriet Tubman says, I freed 1,000 slaves, I would have freed even more slaves if they would have known that they were slaves. Wow. How many of you fellas and women are operating as a slave and don't even know it? Are you conscious that every day you wake up and you're anticipating to work for somebody?
God's not going to show you all of the steps to get you to your goal right up front. He'll show you a few, and you do those, he'll show you more. You do those, he'll show you a few more. But you can count on this, and I know this to be true. God will always show you the next step in your life at the exact time you need it. When you need to know it, God will show it.
It isn't that you don't get to speak truth to power. It's that you do not get to act in the world in a manner that allows you to eliminate endless, unnecessary, hellish suffering. And not just for you, but for you and your family and your community. And so the enemies of free speech, they're the enemies of the process that turns potential into habitable order. They're enemies of the divine principle. And worse, they're their own enemies.
The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame. Look at your last 5 text messages. Are those people feeding your flames or dousing your fire? Put your phone down for just a second and look around. Look to the people around you. Are those people throwing logs on your fire or are they pissing on it?
This is a timing time. We're all looking for answers. We're all looking as leaders for resources. I mean, the things I'm giving you, I'm assuming you're not only applying them to your life, but you're passing them on. Most of the things we want, but we don't have them. We want them, but we don't have them. Most of the things we want but don't have are just outside our comfort zone. Trust me on that.
To help you get started, consider these questions. What do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to go? And what would I like to share? Now, with these thought starter questions in mind, answer the basic question. What do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? See how many things you can write down. This is the time for you to let your thoughts pour.
My self-talk is this: okay, I want to get the fuck out of here, man. I'm done. Then I remember this. You ran 2,000 miles training to be in this moment right now. We forget that. We forget the 3 o'clock in the morning runs or getting up early for work or whatever you're doing. We forget all that. In that moment of suffering, I remind myself.
Let me give it to you like this. Everything God wants to do next in your life is connected to what He is calling you to do now. Because some of the things that you're fighting with are not for you. They are for your children. I don't have children yet. No, I'm not talking about your view of things. I'm talking about God's view of things. He already sees them at 6'2", and you're only 16.
The fact that people are trying to discredit you, trying to make you look bad, that's a sign that you're doing something right. You're making a difference. You're leaving your mark. Some people are so small-minded, so insecure, they'll never celebrate the favor on your life. That jealous spirit will cause them to find fault, criticize. Just stay on the wall.
We must make a decision to not let people run our lives. They end up happy if we do everything that they want us to do, but we end up giving up our joy. The manipulators and the controllers are always the ones that let you down when you need them. So remember, don't let they run your life. The next thing that I think will really increase your happiness is to really understand what grace is.
Most of the reasons why I believe in God is not because I didn't face suffering. Most of the reasons why I believe in God is because God was with me in the suffering. And the suffering develops and creates a stage, and the stage is not for your glory, the stage is for His glory. And so I live my life being prepared with a reason. It is not what you are going through that matters most. It is who you are going to.
If you put fleas in a 10-inch jar, this experiment has been done. And watch, they'll jump up and down, up and down. You listen, they'll hit their heads. Then after a while, they'll be jumping up and down, but they won't hit their heads. Now, when you take the top off, they'll be jumping up and down, and they won't jump out. They've been rejected so long.
Are you looking to wake up and be somebody's bee. They said somebody's bee as in you got the king and the queen bee and you got all the worker bees that work for someone. They said if you don't remain obedient to your visions and dreams, you're gonna wake up every day at 6 a.m. to go and work for somebody else who was obedient to their dreams.
The steps of good people are directed by the Lord, and He delights in each step they take. Circle the word each. God delights in each step you take. Steps to getting to your goal. Steps to getting to your vision. Steps to fulfilling your dream. He enjoys watching you take each step.
Well, some of us believe in free speech and some of us don't. It's way deeper than that. If you don't believe in free speech, you don't believe in the implicit divinity of mankind, you don't believe in the sovereignty of the individual, you don't believe in sovereignty as such, you're a totalitarian of some sort, which means you attribute all the divine power to yourself.
The people that you spend time with are going to make or break your dreams. Everybody don't deserve to be around you. You got to defend your light with your life. So who are the people in your life that are fanning your flames? Shout them out.
I would never do anything that would cause people to rile up the darkest, dirtiest parts of people. I only wanted to enliven and enlighten and inspire.
Is we're in a crisis. I think this is a huge time to mentor people because I think they're receptive to leadership. I think they're receptive to a crisis. And crisis, what does it do? It moves people. It changes people. It takes people out of their comfort zone. In fact, that's one of the reasons I told Mark, I'm available to you. I'm just close to the phone. Why? Because he's leading in uncharted territory. The waves are moving on him. And so availability is huge. But timing is so key.
Make the list as long as you possibly can. Try to write down at least 50 items, 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. After you've completed your list, you're ready for the next part of the exercise. Go through this list now to the best of your ability and say, that looks like it will take me about a year, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. Some big goals might be out there 10 years from now.
Discipline. Discipline means self-reliance. This is all to say that in many instances, what looks like discipline in someone else is just a matter of personal preference. If somebody wants to major in business and we would hate doing that major, we don't think ourselves as being less disciplined than them. If someone likes sushi and we don't think to ourselves, if only I was more disciplined, I could eat more sushi. We just think different strokes for different folks. I don't personally enjoy that. Yet we try to force ourselves into certain habits we think we should, even if they're not right for us. Now I know what you're thinking. Aren't there things we truly should be doing? Shouldn't we all exercise and eat right and try to be productive and stuff? I would certainly agree, but I would frame the typical discussion differently. You may like to lounge around and play video games and eat junk food, but this isn't what you should limit your life to. It's a moral failing not to use your full potential to its utmost. But it's not a moral failing to choose to adopt one set of habits over another in order to achieve a life of virtue, excellence, and flourishing. There are a few habits that are objectively right and wrong, instead of lending certain habits value only according to how difficult they feel. Here's a better metric to use: what habits allow you to access your greatest potential. There are all kinds of ways you can approach the same habit. You can achieve the same end through different means, a set of means you like. You should build habits that work for your personality. People can get ripped working out like a bodybuilder, but if you prefer rock climbing or cycling or rowing, then shape your exercise habit around your interests. If your friend follows a low-carb diet, but you find that low-fat works for you, then more power to you. You don't have to build habits everyone tells you to build. Choose the habits that best suits you, not the one that is most popular.
We think, God, just get rid of my enemies. Shut them up, change their mind, show them that they're wrong. God says, no, I have a better way. I'm going to promote you while they're still talking.
If God can find a cup that's clean and empty, God will continue to fill it up in order to spill it out. Come on, if you believe it, somebody give God some praise all over this place.
If I keep my sense of who I am, I can go through things that would have killed somebody else's character. Yeah. This is the word.
Love is not about how you feel about somebody. It's a decision. Don't forget this. It's a decision that you make about how you're going to treat them.
When we write down what God has put in our heart to do, and we begin to pray about it, commit to the Lord, that's your goals. And then your plans will succeed.
The fundamental sovereign God was he who pays attention and speaks the truth. And that's something. That's not something you punish people for.
You really don't know if the principles and the values that you talk about really have strength and power and stability until you've been tested with it.
It is not difficult to get trapped by economic necessity and settle for existence rather than substance. We all have a choice. We can either make a living or design a life.
I was working to get food on the table, to take care of mama. And so as you look at yourself, look at where we are right now, even if you've lost your job.
For me, when I was going through SEAL training, I was willing to die. So all these negative questions that kept on coming up in my head, I had the answer for them.
The question is, what are you going to do next week, 2 weeks from now? You're in your own way. You are the reason your career is not on the next level.
I look at the world through a lens of comedy, right? So my natural reaction is always, no matter when something happens and I can't even help it, it's why is that funny?
Why are you wasting time and energy on something you can't change? That's not your job, that's God's job. Your reputation is in His hands. He knows when someone's slandering you, mischaracterizing on purpose, spreading rumors. You stay on the high road, and at the right time, God will vindicate you. He'll defend your reputation. Let me tell you, nobody can defend you like our God.
I think when you're going through suffering, it's really, really important that you just remember the Lord's watching. The Lord's watching. The Lord sees all. The Lord's got a different vantage point than what I have. He sees it. He sees it. In His eyes, they stay on the righteous. God, I'm gonna honor you. God, I don't understand what's going on right now. This is hurting. I feel like my roof's caving in. I feel like my bed's breaking. I feel like the power's out. God, I know you're watching.
You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, saving a many lives. All right, the Word of God, that you could carry it forward so that it would have an imprint in your life. And you could ask the question, am I in the position to make the decision, or am I letting my pain get the best of me?
We're supposed to be God pleasers, not people pleasers. I don't think there's anything worse than living your life in a way where you're keeping everybody else happy, but where you're miserable because you don't believe that you're doing really what you should be doing. We have to learn to say yes if our heart's saying yes. I think a lot of people say yes with their mouth while their heart is screaming no.
Write down your goals, make it a prayer list, and start praying about them every day. Here's step number 2. Make my goals visible. Make my goals visible. Now, what does that mean? It means you put them where you're going to see them several times a day. Maybe you put them on your bathroom mirror. Maybe you put them on your refrigerator door. Maybe you put them on your car dashboard. You might put them in multiple places so you don't forget them.
The way that you take the potential upon which the cosmos is predicated and cast it into the order that allows everyone to thrive is by using truthful speech. Wouldn't it be something if that was the case? And the thing is, you know it's the case. You know it. You know it. Because you do not admire yourself if you're deceitful. You admire yourself when you have those rare moments in your life where you can actually stand up and say what's true, regardless of the cost.
Put the word wisdom. And the reason for that is wisdom comes out of crisis and what we've learned from it. Wisdom doesn't come out very seldom of the easy days we have. Wisdom comes, it's forged out of that crisis that we go through, that through that, it's more than what we know, it's what we experience, it's all put together. That's where you get wisdom.
If you had enough reasons, you could do incredible things. You have enough intelligence, but not enough reasons. That's the key. If you had enough reasons. In my years of study, I've also discovered this. Reasons come first, and answers come second. Life has a strange way of hiding all the answers and disclosing them only to people who have been inspired to look for them.
For those of you who want to see a way out, for those of you that want to create something differently, for those of you that are feeling powerless and helpless, I want you to know it's not over until you win. There's a reason we're taught, and there's certain wisdom in life. It's not over until you win. Judge not according to appearances.
It's those people that don't have the answer for those negative questions. And if you can't answer those questions, you will quit. When your mind, this is this whole 40% rule that I talk about all the time, I started making it up through pain. So basically the 40% rule is I am a strong believer that we quit. Because why? How the is a 297-pound cockroach guy who quit on everything is now considered one of the baddest men on the planet? How is that possible?
You know better, but you're not doing better. And to know better and not be willing to do better, your career isn't gonna get any better. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Your attitude has given people scissors to cut you off, to try and chop you down and chop you out of opportunities.
I live in complete terror. Like, everything for me about what I've been trying to build and what I've been trying to do with my life keeps me in terror. I am deeply motivated by fear.
It's extremely helpful for me just psychologically that no matter what's going on, I can't keep my mind from finding jokes. Stay joyous and positive.
You don't have to spend your energy trying to guard your reputation. Spend your energy guarding your heart, not taking the bait. When people are trying to make you look bad, saying things behind your back, little innuendos, or he just plays up to the boss. He's not that talented. I heard she's running around with that guy. You can't stop that. You can't make people do what's right. If you put out one rumor, there's going to be 3 more pop up.
He hears you. How comforting is that when you're suffering, that God actually hears you? But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. And I'm going to recognize that God sees me and he hears me. From his deepest moment of suffering to the point that he was behaving like he was insane.
What I endeavor for you to see today is that at this point in life, when something bad happens to you, when something bad is done to you, when the bad thing is because of you, all of it, I'm trying to get you to see that all things fall under the sovereignty of God.
Be led by the Spirit, not led by other people. Be a God pleaser, not a people pleaser. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will for your life.
Make your goals visible. Why should you do that? Because studies have shown that you forget almost 95% of everything you hear or think about in about 3 days, if you don't write it down. Anyone who listens to God's word without retaining it, that's remembering it, is like a person who looks at himself in a mirror and immediately forgets what he looks like when he walks away.
You think, well, is habitable order good? Because life is very difficult. And it's a real question whether or not the order that we inhabit is good. If truthful speech gives rise to the order, then that order will be good. And that's really something, man. Like, that's really something to apprehend. It's a fundamental theological presupposition.
Are they continually growing? I love this question. In fact, this is a big question for me on people that are mentoring me. I really want people to not only talk to me about what they have learned, I want them to talk to me about what they are learning. The difference is when they tell me what they've learned, I get experience. When they tell me what they're learning, I get passion. So this is a passion question.
When you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, you will find ways to get it. The answers, the methods, the solutions will become evident to you. Hey, what if you had to be rich? Are there any books and tapes on the subject? The answer is yes. There are plenty of good ones. But if you don't have to be rich, you probably won't read the books or listen to the tapes.
If you hear me right, you'll see this as an incredible time. If you hear me from a right state of mind, a lot of people are mentally dead to what I have to say. My message, and I'm very clear on this, it's not for everybody. Most people rather die than change. Rather die.
I had to change one thing, my mindset. So there's no way in hell that was in, but that guy was in me. When that guy came down here and said, hey, guess what, man? You're a fat ass, but I'm gonna now make you a badass. I want a miracle to be a badass. No, it was in me. I had to believe and make that belief work. And through hard work, I did that.
Everybody wants to make more money. Everybody wants a bigger position. Everybody wants to move from where they are to get to that next level. But your attitude has compromised your altitude. Most of us don't grow till you hear the word no. It's a lot of love in the word no.
I've always been the type of person who I thought of myself as resilient, that I could always make my way back. Being stuck in the past it makes it extremely difficult to find your way out. And future thinking for me has always been the way to get over difficult times, to be able to look over the darkness to a potential time of light.
If we make the mistake of getting upset, trying to pay them back, straighten them out, then you're sinking down to their level. You always go down to engage with a gossip, with a person that says things to demean other people. Recognize who you're dealing with. That's not an eagle. That's not a person of integrity, someone that will believe the best, that will be happy if you succeed. That's a chicken.
I want you to know when you respond correctly to suffering, God sees. God blesses. Remember, the Lord's watching. Do not fear. Everyone say, do not fear. Who is going to harm you if you are eager to do good? But even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Let that be an encouragement to some people.
Say sovereignty. You don't have to spell it, put it in the chat, just say it. Sovereignty. The sovereignty, I before E, sovereignty. Got a G in it, sovereignty. It means that God uses sinful men to accomplish saving purposes.
We're talking about here being conformed versus being transformed. And conformed means to be similar in form or character, to comply, to behave in accordance with prevailing customs. That literally means to act like everybody else does and do what everybody else does.
Hold on to good planning and good sense. Don't let them out of your sight. And notice that phrase, don't let them out of your sight. That's why we're talking about making your goals visible. You don't want to let them out of your sight. So how do you make your good plans and your faith goals always in your sight? Well, one of the most practical ways is just make a poster, okay? Make a poster.
God uses the Word of God to cast potential, which we all face. That's what we face, potential, right? You know that. You know that. The future is unstructured. You have a potential within you that can meet that, and there's a potential that characterizes the future. You meet it with eyes open and with truthful speech, because God uses the Logos, which is truthful speech, to cast the pre-cosmogonic potential into habitable order.
I want to be mentored by a person who is doing it right now, and they're growing right now. And there's something about the contagiousness of that in a mentoring role that is absent with a person that has grown, but they stop growing. I not only want somebody that has all the qualifications I've talked to, but I want somebody that's solid.
What drives us to find the answers is necessity. So work on your reasons first, answers second. Now, what are some of the reasons for doing well? It varies from person to person. I'm sure that if you did a little soul searching, you could come up with a fairly strong list of reasons why you want to accomplish great things.
I remember standing behind the truck and unloading the truck and crying and feeling stupid and humiliated. The neighbor said, "Mamie, you back?" "Yeah, my son lost a house." And my mother came to the back of the truck and she said, "Leslie?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, Mama." "What's wrong with you, boy?" I said, "I feel so stupid. I let you down. I feel so stupid." She said, "Hold your head up, boy. You have nothing to be ashamed of."
So the 40% rule is like we have like a car. Some cars have a governor on it. And when you get to like 92 miles an hour, that car will start doing this because it can't go any faster. Those cars that don't have governors on, like a fast ass, whatever, Porsche or whatever, that motherfucker bury it, gone. We have that ability in us, but we have put this governor on our minds. And you have to, the factory that put the governor on that car, the factory is now you that put this in your mind.
What is your bottom line? If you don't have a bottom line, it's expected of that man or that woman to continue to cross the line. If you don't have a bottom line, most of y'all claim to have a bottom line, but as soon as that person says or does the same thing over and over and over, you give them a pass.
I'm trying to develop a more realistic perspective of what this business is. I told my mother this the other day, and she thought it was hilarious. I said, when I was 15 years old, my first girlfriend cheated on me.
Oh.
And I remember making a decision that nobody would ever cheat on me again, and the way I was going to do that is by being the biggest actor on earth.
It can be difficult to find a single reason to be grateful for. The experience of rejection. As a human being and as a speaker, I've experienced my fair share. It often doesn't feel fair. It certainly doesn't feel good. I can honestly say that my first feeling isn't gratitude. It's not my second feeling either, or my third. Gratitude is usually the furthest thing from my mind. Yet rejection can have a position utility. If you're anything like me, you need a silver lining when people are basically saying either "I don't want you" or "I don't like your work." Yeah, it's all about balance. The first thing we may want to remember is that balance is important in our work and in our relationships. We want to feel valued and appreciated. We want to experience rejection in love or even in career situations. We need to remember the importance of having a mutually beneficial relationship, which isn't possible when the elements of value and appreciation are notably absent. In short, whether it's a job that doesn't want us or a partner, we need to go where we are wanted and valued. It doesn't matter who's saying "I don't want you." What's important is that we recognize that not being wanted means this isn't the right fit for us. It's time to move on. We need to be able to stop wanting what doesn't want us. It's certainly a practice when we get our hearts set on something or someone, but the best thing we can do for ourselves is seek relationships and career opportunities that feel like home more than an endless effort only to fall short of ever measuring up. Ever feel like you're in a situation when you just opened one app to check something quick and suddenly an hour has vanished? Yeah, actually me too, we've all been there. Stuck in the endless scroll, bombarded by notifications, and watching videos that we don't even care about. So what if we took a stand? What if we reclaimed our focus and put it to work for us? And that is what we're about to say. The truth is, social media is a master of distraction. It's designed to keep us hooked, to steal our focus bit by bit, and obviously it's working. But here's the thing, our focus is a precious resource. It's what allows us to learn, to be productive, to connect with the people who matter the most. And when we spend it way on mindless scrolling, we're missing out on life. I want to start by asking you this question. Have you ever thought about why you use social media? I mean, it's something that we all do automatically. We wake up, reach for our phones, and start scrolling. But have you ever asked yourself, why am I doing this? No one can deny that social media is a powerful tool. It can connect us with friends and family, keep us informed about the world, and even help us with our work. But without a clear purpose, it can easily become a time-consuming distraction. So let's take a moment to define your purpose. First, I want you to ask yourself why you use social media. Is it to stay connected with the loved ones, to keep up with the latest news, to promote your business, or to find maybe inspiration? Because understanding your main reason helps you use social media more intentionally. And once you're identifying your purpose, you need to set specific goals for your social media use, because goals give you direction and help you measure progress. For example, if I'm using it for work, I will post once a day about my work and engage with professional networks for 30 minutes each day. If I'm using it to connect with my friends, I will spend 20 minutes each evening responding to messages and commenting on others' posts. I guess you start to see, but what do I mean by setting specific goals? So like this, we become the ones in control, not the ones being controlled. And another important thing is to create and maintain healthy daily habits. We all know that habits shape our lives, but have you ever considered how your morning and evening routines can set the tone of your entire day? How you start your morning can significantly impact your mood and productivity for the rest of the day. Instead of reaching for your phone and getting lost in social media, try incorporating activities that set a positive tone. For example, begin with some physical activity, whether it's a quick jog or simple stretching, because getting your body moving releases endorphin and wakes you up. Or pick up a book or read something inspiring, whether it's a few pages of a motivational book or a thoughtful article. And for me, the best thing to do in the morning is to take few moments to plan your day. Write down your goals, prioritize your tasks, and set a clear agenda. This not only helps you stay organized, but gives you a sense of purpose and direction. Now, imagine starting your day with these activities. Picture yourself energized from a quick workout, inspired by a good read, and focused with a clear plan. This is how you start your day with positive energy. And also, you need to do the same in the evening, before falling asleep, because you have to finish the day right, not only starting it right, and then neglect what happens. Maybe you can make a recap about your entire day to see what you did accomplish so far, and to compare yourself with the version of you of yesterday, so you can check the progress or what you did. Because I'm telling you, by creating healthy morning and evening routines, you're not just changing how you start and end your day, you're actually transforming your entire life. And now, with less time spent on social media, you will have more time to engage in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. We really miss the old good times when we hang out with friends and just live the moment. We used to feel connected and present without the distraction of using phones. Or even now, when a group of friends are together, each one is sitting on his own, using his phone, and no one is talking. Especially the new generation, they don't know anymore how to interact with other people and how to deal with situations in real life. And this is very dangerous. They're living in a virtual world that when we bring them out of it, they know nothing. So this is why I do encourage you to engage yourself with real life activities and to stay away from the screen, because it's destroying you. You can go on a walk, hang out with friends or with family members, try to open some conversations with strangers, learn how to talk, how to think, and how to deal with things, because this is very important, man. And by trying keeping yourself away from the screen and be present in real life, you will feel a huge difference. It's like you're alive now. You're breathing and you're full of energy. Last thing to say, social media is a powerful tool, indeed a very powerful tool, and I won't lie, we need it in today's life, but it's just one aspect of our lives. Let's prioritize real-world connections, meaningful experiences, and personal growth. Use social media wisely, man, and make it complement your life, not define it.